muskie and pike fishing, where your fingers are shredded, your back hurts, and your friends think you're chasing the Loch Ness Monster. But when you do actually get a muskie in the net or a pike in the net and your adrenaline is rushing, it's worth every single cast, all 10,000 of them. So in an effort to help enhance your fishing experience without breaking the bank, what I'm going to be doing today is reviewing 10 battle-tested products that have upheld against the weather and the grind of fishing. And I'm going to be doing a 1-ish minute review on each of them to kind of go over the advantages and disadvantages of those products. And if you are interested in buying any of these products, I'm going to be using links down below. Some of them will actually have discounts to them, some of them maybe not so much, but these are 10 products that I would highly recommend and have actually pleasantly surprised me while out on the water. All right, let's get into it. The first product is a fishing reel. It is the Penn Squall SQL 400. It's a 400 size big game reel. It's 13.9 ounces, so it weighs pretty comparable to a lot of other reels. It's a high-speed reel, so you can definitely crank in those presentations pretty fast. But one of the things about it is the spool capacity is a little bit more narrow, so a little bit less line on there than normal, but it's only 200 bucks. And for a 400 size reel, I would say 200 bucks is a great price, and it has stood up over the test of time, and I would highly recommend it. All right, we're gonna go a little bit of a different direction here. Let's talk about baits. This one's special. I'm excited to share that I'll be officially selling Foxfires, which is the same spinner baits that my poppy used to make and the ones I grew up fishing with. From my experience, they're hands down one of the best multi-species baits out there, particularly for pike and muskie. I have fished for over 25 years and there's no bait that has caught more bass, pike, or muskie than this one. I actually know guys who have owned over 100 of these and now have none left in their tackle box, not because they've lost them, but because the fish absolutely demolish them. And I think the reason it's such a good bait is it's a combination of the fluted Indiana and the Colorado blade behind it, you know, mixed in with the thin wire and then a Mr. Twister on the trailer hook. We have tried to alter components of the bait, but catch rates dramatically dropped, so we have always gone back to making them the way that my poppy did. And here's the news. I've got a small batch available now for $17 a piece, but if you buy 3 or more, I'll cover the shipping cost. Just shoot me an email. My email's in the description below if you want to get your hands on one of them. Now, if you're thinking about top battle-tested muskie baits, I've got to throw this bait in the mix. It's been a killer this year. It's a real small, number 7 blade, and number 6 right behind it. It is called the Barn Burner, the 7.6 Barn Burner by Musky Addicts. Musky Addicts. So John Best makes some great baits. It's actually caught quite a few bass as well. It's got a hinge right here. And that hinge, especially when you burn it, it kind of goes back and forth and in a zigzag type pattern. I've obviously added a Mr. Twister onto the end of the hook. I love that. It seems to trigger fish. But it's a small bait and it's very versatile. It obviously doesn't hurt your wrist when you reel it in. And of course, it catches a lot of fish. So I would highly recommend it. The second bait is by Tackle Industries. TackleIndustries.com, you can go there. They have rods, which we'll get into in a little bit, and this huge bait, which is about the length of my forearm, and it is, on the surface, looks like a single-tailed bulldog. But the plastic on this is significantly softer. You can see how much it bends. And while a bulldog kind of goes up and down in the water, this bait kind of does the worm in the water. And it is very similar to what a lot of fish see, with a little bit of a different vibration and a little bit of different action. And it definitely triggers strikes. Fish have gone crazy over this bait. The only disadvantage is it has a hook, which I'm not showing here, but it comes out the top. So I would just push the plastic down, take bolt cutters and cut that hook off, because that hook, in my opinion, actually decreases your hooking percentage because it acts like a jaw spreader. But if you do that and you can tune this bait properly, it is going to be one of the best soft plastic baits in your tackle box. All right, so let's talk about a topic that's maybe a little bit less exciting, and that is fishing line. Now, if you go with fishing line that's real low budget, it's probably going to snap off and you're going to lose the fish of a lifetime. So you can't really skimp out on line. You really want the best of the best. So I have recently been using Finn's Braid, which is made in the USA. This is a 100-pound test, and it's smaller than competing brands so that you can, in other words, the diameter is smaller, so you can fit more on your spool. It's quite strong. This is a 100-pound test, but it's also very smooth. It has abrasion protective material on it, and that keeps it from fraying over time. When a line frays over time, it increases its saturation of water, and then it further weakens the line. And when you're casting those big baits all day long for pike and for muskie, you can have a lot of wear and tear on your line. So you want something that's going to hold up over time, and you're going to want, you know, something with eight strands in it, and that's actually what this line has. It has 8 strands. It's very tightly weaved, and so on paper it meets all the qualifications, and you can get, when you're actually out on the water, get maximum casting distance on it. It's very strong. It fights the best fish and the biggest fish, and I would highly recommend it. So on to the next product is a fishing rod, right? Gotta have a good fishing rod if you're gonna catch some really big pike and muskie. So you definitely want a rod that is light, that is durable, that is a little bit stiffer for the rating that it has, that has a good load towards the top of the rod, is light, is easy to transport. So all these things are really important. And if you go to tackleindustries.com, I have been using these rods now for a couple years now, and they definitely check off all the things that I just mentioned. So they have fought some really big fish for me. They've got collapsible rods and one-piece rods if you're not into the whole telescopic thing. And they've got great blanks that they use. They're trusted in the industry. It's $179 for this particular rod. This is a 9-foot rod, extra heavy, so definitely has a good backbone behind it for setting hooks and for casting big baits and doing figure eights. And I can get you obviously 15% off if you use the code and a link in my description down below. So I would definitely highly recommend the Tackle Industries rods. All right, so you're reeling in that big fish. All right, get the net. And the guy reaches for his little butterfly net. No, that's not gonna work, right? You need a net that has a huge hoop on it, okay? So that you can bring in those 50 inchers easily. And then you need something that has a very deep bag that you can fit your family in. And you want something that has good meshing on it, because if the meshing is not good on your net, it's going to damage the fish and also the fish's fins. So you need something that has a rubber coated meshing on the net and is something that's not going to break when you net a really big fish. So I have and been using for a long time the Drifter XL Predator Musky net. It's pretty reasonably priced considering the quality. I've been using it for about 6 years. I know a lot of other people that have been using it. It's a little on the heavier side. That's my only negative of it. But there is something called the gym that you can go to and lift some weights, which you should be doing anyway if you're throwing 10-pound lures for pike and muskie. But it's not the best for solo fishing, but one of the reasons it's heavy is because it's made with great quality metal. I would highly recommend it. It's got that rubber coating on the net. It's got a deep bag so the fish can swim around in the water after you've caught it. And it's got a pretty big hoop. You can even go even larger. They have an XL, so it's super huge if you have a big boat. But I've done the XL. That's worked great with, fish that are, in that 4-foot long range. They have plenty of room to swim around, and I would highly recommend this net if you are going to get one. All right, so if you are a boat owner or you're about to be a boat owner and you're going to be running a trolling motor on your boat, you're going to need one of these, a lead acid battery, right? No. You got to go lithium. And Lithium offers lithium batteries that are extremely reasonably priced. Not in the $700 to $1,000 range, but more in the $300 range. And they're going to last you at least 5 to 10 years. And notice I've got it on my shoulder and I can barely feel it, and that's because these batteries are super light. Every aspect of these batteries are better than a lead acid. Lithium is the way to go. It's only 22 pounds, if you can believe that. So it's going to reduce the amount of weight in your boat, and it's going to last a long time out on the water and also over the years. in terms of longevity, and it's also going to charge a lot faster. That's something that stood out to me, is like it only took a couple hours to charge it. So if you drain it completely, just fire up the charger and you'll be good to go pretty soon. So I would definitely grab one of these. You can use a link in the description down below as well. I also have the brand new trolling motor / starter battery. So they have a dual battery. It serves two purposes in one battery. It's 33 pounds and it allows you to start the motor right up while also having as a backup trolling motor battery as well. So I thought that was super cool that you can have a 2-for-1. They now offer those. That's kind of the newest, latest and greatest thing from Lithium. I have a lot of other friends that use these too. They've never had a problem. Reviews are through the roof great, and I just can't believe how light they are. Maybe I'll have this on my shoulder the rest of the review. We'll see if I can do it. So you're a boat owner, right? Or you're thinking about owning a boat and you want a really good trolling motor. I would highly recommend Motor Guide. I've had it for several years now on my Deep V tracker boat. And one of the things you want with your trolling motor is that, number one, it doesn't give you any issues over time. I've never had a single issue with this trolling motor over time. It's also extremely precise, even more precise than any other competing brand with its spot lock. So as soon as you press spot lock, it keeps you right there, even in the wind. I love that. That's really important with boat positioning. It also has a little fob that you can wear around your neck or around your belt. And it's got 20 different speed settings, so that's really nice to be able to get the exact speed setting you need. It also has the ability to record routes, and it's got some other really cool features as well. I have a 45-pound thrust because my boat is really light, but they've got all kinds of options that are super great, and depending on whatever boat you have. Overall, it is a fantastic trolling motor. I would highly recommend, and it's really not that terribly priced considering the value that you get. All right, so maybe you're upset because I'm biased towards anglers that own a boat, and maybe you don't own a boat or don't own a boat yet, and you want to wade. You got to get some good waders, right? Waders are kind of one of those things where you don't realize that you need them until you actually need them, and you're in waters where you're like, oh man, I wish I could get out just a little bit farther in the water. So a good pair of waders, you know, it's obviously, they've got to be real light, got to be comfortable. I'm tempted to say breathable, but if you have breathable waders, you're gonna have water coming in them, so you don't want that. But you want to be obviously waterproof, and you want them to be light, comfortable, durable, and obviously not several $100s if possible. So the Foxelli waders are waders that I have used in the past, and they check all those boxes off. And they're only like 65 bucks, something like that. And the way you can kind of move around, especially if you're doing like, you know, hiking fishes, and you know, maybe you're, you know, walking on rocks and you need something to be stable. You know, these are great waders. So use the link in the description down below. It'll send you over to Amazon where you can look at reviews. A lot of great things to say. If you want neoprene waders, if you want something a little more heavy duty, those are going to run you a little bit over $100. But I'd say overall that's pretty great price point for the quality that you're going to get with Foxelli waders. All right, so this next product I have to actually remove in order to show it to you. All right, so these are the KalKal fishing boots. So footwear is not really something you think about all the time, but if you're gonna be standing on a boat all day long, or you're gonna be fishing from the shore, you need a good boot. And what do you want in a good boot? Well, something that's light and comfortable, obviously that's huge, but something also that's waterproof, slip proof or slip resistant, sweat resistant, it kind of repels sweat in a hot day, and something that's easy to slip on, right? You don't have to spend like 3 minutes tying laces. So the KalKal boot actually checks all those boxes off, and it's only about 50, 60 bucks for these boots. And I've seen comparable ones that are over 100. So head on over to Amazon, I'll leave the link in the description below. They check off all those boxes. They're just great boots. I've had them for a super long time. Also, one of my friends and YouTubers, Absolute Unit Media, if you haven't checked out his YouTube channel, do so. He's used them too, and he loves them, so would highly recommend. All right, so for the final product, I had a couple different ideas, and I was debating back and forth on which one I should show you. But have you ever seen this thing before? It's an action camera. It's a GoPro. And I know not all of you are YouTubers, but a lot of you like to strap a GoPro on a YOLOTech stick or on your hat so that you can record some memories. which I would highly recommend doing anyway. And a lot of anglers are starting to do it now. And of course, when you think of recording your own content, you think, well, I got to get a GoPro, right? But believe it or not, I have not had the best experience with GoPros over the years. I think they are slow to turn on, they freeze a lot. How many times have I been fishing and all of a sudden I hear beep, 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 and my GoPro's turning off, and I check the warning and it's like, I decided to shut off because I wanted to give you a really hard time while you were fishing. And I'm like, well, you did a pretty good job there. They just turn off for no reason, and so there's gotta be a better way, right? Well, there is. DJI makes the OSMO Action cameras. This is the OSMO Action 4. The newest one is the OSMO Action 5, which I would highly recommend. These cameras are just fantastic. You touch the on button, it turns on right away. It starts recording. It never turns off throughout the day unless it's overheating in the 100-degree sun. Everything about it's better. The lighting, the audio, and in terms of audio, not only is the audio really great, but you can also get the external mics from DJI. They're wireless, so they can clip onto your shirt, and they produce amazing audio. Especially when it's really windy out. So comparable price to the GoPro. So if you're going to spend your money on an action camera, definitely go with the DJI Action camera. They're not a sponsor, but I love them, so I would highly recommend. Look, nothing is guaranteed in muskie and pike fishing, except maybe a backache and a sore arm and a really hurt ego. But these 10 products that I talked about today, well, they've been there for the boatside chaos, the screaming, the yelling, and the grind over time. So get yourself rigged up with some of the best equipment in the industry. I would highly recommend it. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of SG Angling. If you would, please like, share, comment, interact with the video. Let me know your thoughts and any other products that have been battle tested in your experience. Thanks again, guys, for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode. Peace.